Punch by Fredrik Pohl. The fellow was over 7 feet tall, and when he stepped on Buffy's flagstone walk, one of the stones split with the dust of crushed rock.
"Too bad,"
he said, sadly.
"I apologize very much. Wait."
Buffy was glad to wait, because Buffy recognized his visitor at once. The fellow flickered, disappeared, and in a moment he was there again, now about 5 feet too. He blinked with pink eyes.
"I materialized so badly,"
he apologized.
"but I will make amends. May I? Let me see. Would you like the secrets of transmutation? A cure for simple virus diseases? A list of 12 growth stocks with spectacular growth certainties inherent in your development program for your planet, that is, the Earth?"
Buffy said he would take the list of growth stocks, hugging himself and fighting terribly to keep a straight face. "My name is Charlton Buffy," he said, extending a hand gladly. The alien took it curiously and shook it, and it was like shaking hands with a shadow.
"You will call me Punch, please,"
he said.
"It is not my name, but it will do, because, after all, this projection of my real self is only a sort of puppet. Have you a pencil?"
And then he rattled off the names of 12 issues Buffy had never heard of. That did not matter in the least. Buffy knew that when the aliens gave you something, it was money in the bank. Look what they had given the human race. Faster-than-light spaceship, power sources from hitherto non-radioactive elements like silicon, weapons of great force and metalworking processes of great subtleness. His wife's aunt's brother-in-law, the Colonel, was even now off in space somewhere in a highly armed spaceship built according to their plans. Buffy thought of ducking into the house for a quick phone call to his broker, but instead he invited Punch to look around his apple orchard. Making the most of every moment, he said to himself, every moment with one of these guys is worth $10,000.
"I would enjoy your apples awfully,"
said Punch, but he seemed disappointed.
"Do I have it wrong? Don't you and certain friends plan a sporting day, as Senator Wenzel advised me?"
"Of course, certainly. Good old Walt told you about it, did he?" "Yes." That was the thing about the aliens. They liked to poke around in human affairs. They said when they came to Earth that they wanted to help us, and all they asked of us in return was that they be permitted to study our ways. It was nice of them to be so interested, and it was nice of Walt Wenzel, Buffy thought, to send the alien along to him. "We're going after Mallet, down to Little Egg. Some of the boys and me. There's Chuck, he's the mayor here, and Jer, Second National Bank, and you know, the Padre."
"That is it,"
cried Punch.
"To see you shoot the Mallet."
He pulled out an ESO roadmap overtraced with golden raised lines, and asked Buffy to point out where Little Egg was.
"I cannot focus well enough to stay in a moving vehicle,"
he said, blinking in a regretful way.
"Still, I can meet you there. If, that is, you wish."
"Oh, I do. Buffy was painfully exact in pointing out the place. Punch's lips moved silently, translating the golden lines into polar space-time coordinates, and he vanished just as the station wagon with the rest of the boys came roaring into the carriage drive with a hydromatic spatter of gravel. The boys were extremely impressed. Padre had seen one of the aliens once at a distance drawing pictures of skaters in Rockefeller Center, but that was the closest any of them had come. God, what luck! Did you get a super hairpin from him, Buffy? Or a recipe for a new smooth martini with dust on it? Not Buffy, fellas. He probably held out for something real good, like 6 new ways to... Oh, excuse me, Padre. But seriously, Buffy, these people are unpredictably generous. Look at what they built that dam in Egypt. Has this Punch given you anything?" Buffy grinned wisely as they drove along, their shotguns firmly held between their knees. "Damn it," he said mildly, "I forgot to bring cigarettes. Let's stop at the Blue Jay Diner for a minute." The cigarette machine at the Blue Jay was out of sight of the parking lot, and so was the phone booth. It was too bad, he reflected, to have to share everything with the boys, but on the other hand he already had his growth stocks. Anyway, there was plenty for everyone. Every nation on Earth had its silicone drive spaceships now, fleets of them milling about on maneuvers all over the solar system. With the help from the Star People, an American expedition had staked out enormous radium beds on Callisto. The Venezuelans had a diamond mountains on Mercury, and Soviet owned a swamp of purest penicillin near the south pole of Venus. And individuals had done very well too. A ticket taker at Steeplechase Park explained to them the reason why the air jets blew up Lady's skirt, and they tipped him with the design of a springless safety pin that was easing him in $1 million a month in royalties. An usherette at La Scala became the cosmetic queen of Europe for showing 3 of them to their seats. They gave her a simple, painless eye dye, and now 99% of Niland's women had bright blue eyes from her salon. All they wanted to do was help. They said they came from a planet very far away, and they were lonely, and they wanted to help us make the jump into space. It would be fun, they promised, and would help to end poverty and war between nations, and they would have the company in the void between the stars. Politely and deferentially, they gave away secrets worth trillions, and humanity burst with a shower of gold into the age of plenty. Punch was there before him, inspecting the case of bourbon hidden in their blind.
"I am delighted to meet you, Chuck, Jer, Bud, Padre, and of course Buffy," he said. "It is kind of you to take a stranger along on your fun. I regret I only have some 11 minutes to stay."
11 minutes? The boys scowled apprehensively at Buffy. Punch said in his wistful voice,
"If you will allow me to give you a memento, perhaps you would like to know that there are 3 grams of common table salt in a quart of Crisco exposed for 9 minutes to the radiation of one of your silicon reactors will infallibly remove warts."
They all scribbled, silently planning a partnership corporation, and Punch pointed out the bay where some tiny dots rose and fell with the waves.
"Are those not the mallards that you wish to shoot?"
"That's right," said Buffy glumly. "Say, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking that transmutation you mentioned before. I wonder..."
"And are these the weapons with which you will kill the birds?"
He examined Padre's ancient over and under with a silver chasing.
"Extremely lovely,"
he said.
"Will you shoot?"
"Oh, not now," said Buffy, scandalized. "We can't do that. The transmutation..."
"It is extremely fascinating,"
said the Starman, looking at them with his mild pink eyes and returning the gun.
"Well, I may tell you, I think, that we have not announced a surprise. We are soon to be present in the flesh, or near, at any rate."
"Near?" Buffy looked at the boys, and the boys looked at him. There had been no suggestion of this in the papers, and it almost took their minds off the fact that Punch was leaving. He nodded violently, like the flickering of a bad fluorescent lamp.
"Near indeed, in a relative way,"
he said.
"Perhaps some hundreds of millions of miles. My true body, of which this is only a projection, is at present in one of our own interstellar ships now approaching the orbit of Pluto. The American fleet, together with those of Chile, New Zealand, and Costa Rica, is there practicing with its silicon ray weapons, and we will shortly make contact with them for the first time in a physical way."
He beamed.
"But only 6 minutes remain,"
he said sadly. "That transmutation secret you mentioned," Buffy began, recovering his voice.
"Please,"
said Punch.
"May I not watch you hunt? It is a link between us."
"Oh, do you shoot?" asked Padre. The Starman said modestly,
"We have but little game, but we love it. Won't you show me your ways?"
Buffy scowled. He could not help thinking that the 12 growth stocks and a wart cure were small pickings from starmen who had given wealth, weapons, and the secrets of interstellar travel. "We can't," he growled, his voice harsher than he intended. "We don't shoot sitting birds." Punch gasped with delight.
"Another bond between us. But now I must go to our fleet for the surprise."
He began to shimmer like a candle.
"Neither do we,"
he said, and went out.